It was supposed to be an ordinary shift. Highway 46, just outside of Millhaven, usually stayed quiet after midnight. You get a few drunk drivers, a deer now and then, the occasional speeding trucker trying to make up lost time. But that night, I remember thinking the air felt heavier. The kind of night where the fog hangs low over the asphalt and every sound seems swallowed before it reaches you. Radio crackles. Dispatch had just cleared me from a welfare check near mile marker 32 when I saw the taillights. Two faint red dots glowing through the mist, crawling way below the speed limit. At first, I thought it was an elderly driver or someone lost. The car drifted a little, then straightened. I pulled behind it, hit the flashers. No reaction. I gave it a quick blip of the siren. Still nothing. Finally, the car eased over to the shoulder. I remember noting the make. Old Chevy Caprice, late 80s maybe. Faded blue paint, one taillight cracked. The license plate was so muddy I could barely read it. I stepped out of the cruiser. Gravel crunches under boots. "Evening, sir," I said. "Everything all right tonight?" No response. His face was turned just enough that I could see pale skin, short hair, something glinting on the neck, maybe a chain. I asked again, louder this time. That's when I noticed something wrong. The engine wasn't running, but the dashboard lights were glowing. The radio was on. Faint static, no station, just hiss. I tapped the doorframe. "Sir, can you hear me?" Still nothing. I leaned closer, shining my light into the car. The man's eyes were open, not blinking, not moving, and his chest wasn't rising. "Dispatch, this is Unit 214, I said into my mic. "I've got a possible unresponsive driver on 46 eastbound near marker 35. Requesting medical." "Copy, 214. EMS en route. Stay with subject." I tried the handle. It clicked open easy. The inside smelled like mildew and something sweet, almost metallic. I reached for the man's wrist to check for a pulse. Ice-cold skin. No heartbeat, but his skin looked too clean. No sign of injury, no frost, nothing. Just lifeless. I stepped back, scanning the car. Papers on the passenger seat, an old photograph wedged in the visor. I flipped it down. A family photo. Man, woman, two kids, standing by a lake. The man in the picture was the same one sitting right in front of me. I remember my stomach dropping when I glanced at the registration. The name? Earl Matson. The address? Millhaven. Date of birth? 1965. The registration expired 11 years ago. Before I could radio it in, distant siren wails, the car's radio snapped from static to a low hum. A voice, faint, garbled, whispered something like, "You shouldn't be here." I froze, looked around. No one else on the road. The fog had thickened so much I couldn't see my cruiser's headlights anymore. I shut the door, stepped back toward the rear of the vehicle. That's when I noticed the damage. The whole right side of the car was dented inward, deep scratches along the fender, dried mud, and something darker near the wheel. It looked like a wreck survivor, but the frame was rusted around the dents, like it had been that way for years. Dispatch called again. 214, status? I said, "Subject appears deceased, no visible trauma. Requesting coroner." They confirmed. I turned off my flashlight for a second, just to rest my eyes. When I clicked it back on, the driver's seat was empty. I swear to God, empty. The car door was still closed. I circled the car, shining the light everywhere. Nothing but fog and the distant hum of a truck far off down the highway. I radioed again, shaky voice. "Dispatch, I may have a subject fled the scene. I need backup." "Copy that. Units en route." I leaned into the car again. The keys were gone from the ignition. The photo was missing too. Only the smell remained, that metallic sweetness, stronger now. And then I saw footprints. Bare feet, wet prints, leading away from the shoulder, into the ditch beside the road. I followed them a few steps. Grass rustles. The prints stop right before the guardrail. Nothing beyond it but the drop toward the creek below. I aimed my light down. There, at the bottom, was a shape. Twisted metal, half buried in weeds. An old blue Chevy Caprice. For a second, I thought maybe I was seeing double. Maybe it was another car. But my gut told me it wasn't. I slid down the embankment, slipping on the damp soil. The wreck smelled of rust and decay. The license plate hung by one screw, the same number I'd just read. I crouched near the driver's side. Inside, through the shattered glass, a skeleton in a tattered uniform. The badge still pinned to the chest pocket. A wallet lying beside it. The ID said Earl Matson. Date of death, October 12, 2014. Exactly 11 years ago that night. I scrambled back up the hill, breath fogging the air, mind spinning. When I reached the road, the other car was gone. Only my cruiser sat there, lights dim in the mist. I ran to it, slammed the door shut, locked it. The radio burst alive again. 214, report status. I tried to speak, but all I heard was a whisper, not from the radio, from the seat beside me. "You shouldn't be here." I turned. For a fraction of a second, the passenger seat looked occupied. A pale figure, soaked, eyes hollow. Then it vanished. I hit the ignition, floored it back toward town. The whole drive, the speedometer needle trembled like it was fighting to stay steady. The fog thinned near the city lights, but the reflection in the windshield showed something behind me. A car tailing close. Same cracked taillight, same shape. I blinked and it was gone. When I reached the precinct, I must have looked like hell. The night sergeant Miller stared at me. "You okay, 214? You look like you've seen a ghost." I told him everything. The slow car, the dead man, the wreck. He frowned, walked over to a filing cabinet, pulled out an old binder. "You said Earl Matson?" He flipped through. "Highway officer. Died in a crash responding to a DUI 11 years ago. Same mile marker you mentioned." I laughed, but it came out cracked. "You're kidding." He shook his head. "The car was totaled. We never recovered his badge or his watch. Funny thing, sometimes rookies say they see headlights near that stretch around midnight. Usually means fog's getting to you." I didn't argue, but when I got home that morning, after my shift, I tossed my gear on the couch and sat down. My radio, the one I'd turned off, crackled once, faint static, then a voice, slow, tired. 214, stay off the road tonight. I didn't sleep. Weeks went by, but I couldn't shake it. I'd drive past mile marker 35 on patrol, and the temperature would drop every time. One night, out of stupid curiosity, I stopped there again, left the cruiser idling, got out, walked to the guardrail, wind howls softly. Down below, the wreck was gone, no trace. The weeds looked untouched, as if nothing had ever been there. I turned to leave and saw headlights appear behind my car, a blue Caprice idling in silence. It flashed its high beams once, twice, then the lights went out. Since then, I've transferred divisions. No more night patrol. But every year, around October, someone calls in reporting a slow blue car on Highway 46. Sometimes it pulls over for them. Sometimes it doesn't. Last week, a rookie came into the break room, pale as paper. Said he stopped a vehicle just like that. License plate rusted, expired for over a decade. When he checked the registration, the name was mine. And this morning, when I walked out to my driveway, there was a photo under my windshield wiper. A family standing by a lake. Same picture I saw that night. Only this time, there was a fifth person standing in the back. Someone in uniform. Me.